Greetings, everybody. My name is James. I am from the internet, and today we are going to be talking about lobbying. Now, for those who might not actually know what lobbying is, it's essentially when one person speaks to a member of government on behalf of a group of people to petition them, or make recommendations, or suggestions, or to ask for things to be done. Now, this started 150, 200 years ago, back in England, when members of parliament would mill about in the hallways before and after sessions, and people would come and find them and talk to them. Oh, we rode in from, across the county. It took us a week, and here, we have a petition for you. Will you consider bringing this up in parliament? And so in that way, it made sense. One person would represent a group of people, go to where the elected officials or representatives are, and make those requests. Now, of course, in steamroll American fashion, in only 150 years or so, we have taken this from a rational action to a way to siphon literally billions of dollars out of the pockets of the working class through corporations and then into dark money super PACs and then into the hands of politicians to ensure that they don't pass legislation that may, even in some small way, benefit the majority of people who live in the country. So today, I want to show you just what one instance of said magnified capitalistic corporate lobbying looks like today in the United States of America, just in case you forgot that with all the other crap we're dealing with, this shit still goes on the daily. Here we go. Report finds big telecom spends $320,000 on lobbying every single day. For the record, that is approximately the annual income of 10 average Americans that telecom giants spend every single day. Try to imagine what kind of effect that might have on legislators and their opinions and what decisions they make. A new study argues crappy U.S. broadband is an active policy choice and a direct result of pathetically weak U.S. lobbying and corporate finance laws. Over the last few years, big internet service providers have killed net neutrality, eliminated most FCC oversight of broadband providers, derailed efforts to pass meaningful privacy rules, and thwarted a wide variety of proposals designed to deliver faster, cheaper, fiber broadband competition. Now, I'm going to assume that this sort of thing is not going to come as a shock to the vast majority of you who watch this video on your 4G or 5G mobile device, because even cellular reception is better than the shitty broadband most people get in their homes. If you were wondering why that happens, well, I can give you roughly 320,000 reasons a day as to why your home internet still sucks ass. A new study found that the telecom industry spent $234 million on lobbying during the 116th Congress alone, or nearly 320,000 a day. Comcast was the biggest spender at more than $43 million, with AT&T not far behind at $36 million. I guess this is what's known as the marketplace competition. Isn't this what all the free market capitalists keep screaming about? Look, everybody has the equal opportunity to spend as much money lobbying as they want, right? Isn't that a good thing? Free market people? The free market of bribery. It's awesome. Quote, the powerful ISP lobby will seemingly spend whatever it takes to keep politicians beholden to them and maintain a status quo that leaves too many Americans on the wrong side of the digital divide. The largest ISPs have used their outsized influence in Congress to block any legislation that would undermine their stranglehold over the broadband marketplace. Now, briefly, I have a soft spot in my heart for this particular issue because many years ago, I wrote an article that went somewhat viral about the Chattanooga ISP. Essentially, the city of Chattanooga, Tennessee, wanted to get broadband brought into its city, but none of the large providers wanted to spend the money to run fiber to the city, deeming that it did not have enough population density for them to make enough profit to lay the cable. So instead, the city of Chattanooga sold bonds, raised their own money, built their own fiber optic network in their own city, and then everybody in the city got amazing high-quality broadband for dirt cheap. And right after that, Verizon and all the large ISPs then went back and sued the city of Chattanooga, claiming that they were having an unfair market advantage over the separate corporate ISPs who couldn't compete against that, and ergo, it was a violation of monopoly laws. No, I can't make this shit up. It actually happened. And apparently, that sort of thing has only gotten worse in the halls of Congress, where now the companies are making sure that other rogue cities in other states don't get the opportunity to defy them. The result of this influence is U.S. broadband that's slower, more expensive, and generally worse than the global average, and political leaders that are generally too feckless and compromised to do much of anything about it. Now, you have to assume if they're spending $320,000 a day every single day during the entire congressional session, that literally every single member of the House is getting a big pile of cash in a brown bag that has a dollar sign written on it. It's fucking comical at this point. Here you go. One of the industry's top targets during the last congressional session was the Save the Internet Act, which would have restored net neutrality and the FCC Consumer Protection Authority stripped away during the Trump administration. Telecom lobbyists also fought against the Accessible Affordable Internet for All Act, which includes money to help fund local community broadband, and they successfully derailed the Resilient Networks Act, which was proposed as an attempt to shore up Puerto Rico's network resiliency after the telecom outages from the last wave of hurricanes years ago. Now, I think it's fair to point out here that the same people who are giving Congress $320,000 a day to make sure that your internet sucks are also the same people who spend billions of dollars a year on TV advertising with commercials with cute, adorable families all sitting on the couch going, "Yay, we're watching Verizon together. This is amazing. Thanks, Verizon." Amazing. They have all this money to spend on advertising. They have all this money to spend on lobbying, and they're doing it just so they can sell you shitty internet instead of just spending the money to make your internet less shitty. An estimated 83 million Americans live under a broadband monopoly, usually a regional cable giant like Comcast or Charter. Millions more live under a duopoly, consisting of either an apathetic phone company or their local cable provider. The end result is obvious: spotty access, slow speeds, high prices, and generally terrible customer service. Often these failures are treated as a matter of cost or technology, but actually, what it is an active policy choice that's brought about by these companies spending more than $250,000 a day to bribe Congress. And for the record, statistically speaking, that's just about 1 in every 4 people in the United States of America have zero choice over their provider because they only have one. And that is usually a crappy company still running old tech because they have a monopoly. And it's really hard to do things in the modern world when you're getting that whopping 2 megabit upload via your phone jack through an old school DSL that you're paying $100 a month for to some local cable provider who literally doesn't care if you live or die. Current federal lobbying laws define a lobbyist as an individual who, within a 3-month period, makes 2 or more lobbying contacts or spends more than 20% of their time lobbying. But it's relatively trivial for most lobbying firms to tap dance around the restrictions by using multiple lobbyists or by simply calling what they do something else. You know, they're consulting or they're giving marketing proposals. It doesn't matter. The laws in place to keep lobbyists from fucking over everybody else are somewhere between thin and none. And to be honest with you, I think thin left a few years ago. However weak our federal lobbying laws are, U.S. campaign finance laws are even weaker. Yeah! Thanks in large part to the 2010 Supreme Court Citizens United decision, which eliminated already flimsy restrictions on corporate political expenditures, flooding D.C. with an unlimited parade of dark money contributions. While this kind of lopsided telecom giant influence is bad for everybody, it's particularly harmful for low-income and marginalized communities, which not only can't afford the resulting high prices, but are routinely left out of the loop when it comes to next-generation broadband updates. Quote, "Our political system is rigged in favor of hedge funds and wealthy shareholders who demand short-term profits over the lasting health of our economy. Telecom companies are limiting deployment of fiber optic broadband to wealthier neighborhoods, and monopoly cable is overcharging for subpar service." And now, before I close, I just want to set up a little brief reminder here for those of you who might show up in the comment section screaming about how awesome capitalism is and how without these companies we would be in the dark ages and how they are benevolent overlords and all is well. Per Verizon's own 2020 finance press release, they ended the year with $128 billion in revenue and almost $42 billion in profit. And the only reason those numbers were down from last year, when it was even higher, was because a lot of the business accounts went soft during the pandemic when everybody was forced to work from home on subpar shitty internet. So what does this mean for you, the average viewer, the average consumer, the average member of the working class? Well, I'm sorry to say on this one, it means you are literally going to continue getting screwed by the wealthy and the powerful, using you as a ping pong ball as they bat you back and forth across the field to extract a little more wealth from you every single time they whack you on the ass and send you back over to the other one. We are rapidly approaching the point where we either need to vote out every single last member of Congress, every single election for 5 or 6 elections in a row, or we need to have a massive general strike and completely shut shit down. Because stuff like this, these enormous loopholes left in lobbying, this is made purposefully by the people who make the laws so they can get the most money. And until these people realize that there are rather severe consequences for their actions, regardless of whether or not they make it legal or not, well, nothing is going to change. This is much like having a child that you always refuse to punish or speak to after they do something bad. There is no onus for them to correct their behavior. As such, they will continue acting like this until consequences are given. Until next time, my name is James. I am from the internet and I am out. Peace.